Hi, hello, and welcome back. My name is Zach, Likes Comics, and I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Today, I want to take you along with me on this beautiful spring day for a cozy day in my nerdy life. I'm going to read some comics and share my thoughts with you. After that, I'm going to build my first Gundam ever, and at the end of the video, I'm going to finish a comic sketch that I shared with you last week on New Comic Book Day. So come along with me on this beautiful spring day for a cozy day in my nerdy life. There are two issues in particular that are at the top of my to-be-read list this month, and that is Batman issue 9 by Matt Fraction and issue number 3 of White Sky by William Harms and J.P. Mavinja. Matt Fraction has absolutely been killing it on Batman, with issue 8 leaving off with Vandal Savage sending an all-out hunt on the Bat family, and I'm very excited to see where this goes in issue number 9. As for White Sky is a post-apocalyptic supernatural story where 5 years ago the sky turned completely white, and now Violet and her father David must find the last bit of safety and shelter in San Francisco, but now they have been separated and Violet must face the horrors of this world alone and find her father David. And I've just been loving this story. It is so fresh and new. I highly recommend this if you're a fan of things like Dune or Fallout, The Walking Dead, or even Outlast. I think you would really enjoy this story as a post-apocalyptic story. And I just cannot wait to see where issue number 3 takes us. So I'm going to get back to you afterwards with my thoughts. I just finished reading issue 9 of the all-new Batman run by Matt Fraction, as well as issue 3 of White Sky by William Harms and J.P. Mavinja. So now it is naturally time to talk about both of these. Issue number 9 of Matt Fraction's Batman run takes place right after Commissioner Vandal Savage sends an all-out hunt for the Bat family, and now the Bat family must prepare and come up with a plan as to how they're going to escape and not be framed in front of the GCPD. And I just love the way that Matt Fraction has been writing this run. This arc in particular has been really interesting, and I am really enjoying the pacing and dialogue throughout. I think the action scenes as well as the narration of all of the Bat family was just phenomenal in this issue, as well as the guest artist appearance in this issue with Jorge Jimenez taking a break. I think that the guest artists have just not skipped a beat on these past 2 issues. They are doing a phenomenal job, and I've just been loving Matt Fraction's Batman run. I highly recommend picking this up. If you have not done this already, I highly recommend doing yourself a favor and just going ahead and snagging this. If you don't want to grab this in single issues, the first 2 volumes are coming out in trade very soon, so you can just go ahead and grab them that way. Is a cheaper format and easier to collect. And coming into the second issue I read this week, we have issue number 3 of White Sky by William Harms and J.P. Mavinja. This is a post-apocalyptic story where 5 years ago the sky turned completely white, and now the world is being haunted and hunted by ghosts as Violet and her father David are traveling across to San Francisco to seek the last bit of safety and shelter. But now they have been separated, and Violet must face the horrors of this world alone as she's seeking her father David, as well as seeking shelter and safety. This is a super fun and unique concept. I highly recommend this if you're a fan of things like Outlast, The Walking Dead, I would even say Fallout. This is just a fun, fresh, post-apocalyptic story that is also supernatural and has just these really interesting elements following ghosts and how this whole world is being haunted and hunted by these ghosts, and the sky is turned completely white with amazing art from J.P. Mavinja, a brand new artist in this scene. This is his first comic ever, as well as an amazing writer on this, with William Harms absolutely killing it with the dialogue and pacing throughout, as well as some amazing action and just following some really interesting characters he's already built up going into issue 3. Issue number 2 introduces us to a brand new character coming into this, and that is a medium named Walther, who is now helping Violet find her father David. And this is going to be a really interesting turn, as I think Walther and Violet are going to really help each other in a interesting way, as it already shows how Walther is absolutely drained from the energy it takes to see everything in this world and to observe the supernatural world, but also Violet knows that Walther can help her find her father David, and I'm really liking how this is playing out. If you've been following the story, I would love to hear in the comments down below what you think, but I just highly recommend picking up White Sky. This is a fun post-apocalyptic supernatural story following a young girl and her father where they are separated and now trying to come together and seek shelter and safety. This is just a very fun and fresh concept. I highly recommend. I now have the waist unit complete, so this means that it's time to assemble the head as well as the legs onto my unicorn Gunpla. And I am just so excited to see how this turns out. There's one leg on, and then we have one more leg to go. I can already tell he is very delicate, but there we go. The RX Unicorn Gunpla. Now that we have the RX-0 Gundam fully built, the next step is to build the weapon and shield, and that will complete the RX-0 Unicorn Gunpla. I am so happy and satisfied with how this turned out. The level of detail is absolutely immaculate, and I am just so excited to be able to put the weapon and shield on so that way I can pose him and put him with my other figures. I have now finished both the weapon and the shield for my RX-0 Unicorn Gundam, and the only step now left is to assemble and put the shield on. And I am just so excited to see how this turns out. The level of detail on this figure is truly something else. I've been very impressed to see the design quality of this figure, though not fully sturdy in some ways and aspects. This is just such a cool and awesome figure to be able to have and pose. And honestly, this was such a fun project. I am super happy to see how this came out. And so now the only thing left is to put it on my filing cabinet and pose him with my other figures. If you remember in last week's video, I mentioned that I want to complete this Daredevil sketch that I've recently been working on. And so today is finally the day that I get to do so, and I'm very excited to see how this comes out. So all I have left to do now is all of the ink and all of the color, which won't take very long because I have all of my outline done, and I already have the vision in my head of where I want my color to go and where I want to do my shading. So I'm very excited to show you this afterwards and kind of just document some of the process along the way and talk with you and share with you what I'm thinking as I'm working. A big part of the creative process for me that I've noticed so far with all of my comic sketches is to break everything down into steps, just like how I work with barbering. As I cut hair, everything has to be done in steps and in a system, because if I deviate from a system, then I start to feel lost along the way. I start to kind of just repeat motions whenever I feel like I'm stuck somewhere, and I hate that feeling so much because it just makes me feel like I'm not progressing and or I'm not able to complete the task at hand, which is honestly sometimes very defeating whenever you're doing hobbies, is not being able to find kind of your creative process at first whenever it comes to creative hobbies, and just feel like you're lost along the way. But something I think is really cool that I would like to share with you is I'm actually left-handed. So this is a, I guess, fun fact. Only 10% of the population is left-handed, which is crazy considering there's 8 billion people roughly in this world, there is only 10% of which are left-handed. I'm now done with all my outline work, which means the last step is upon us, which is doing all of my shading and all of my coloring. This is my favorite step because this is where I really get to see everything come to life. I have here my colored markers and I absolutely love these. These were a gift from my girlfriend for Christmas actually, and huge shout out to Maddie because she really came in clutch with these. This is over 100 actually, different assorted colored markers, and this is just super nice to be able to do all my different sketches and have them come to life to become full pieces of art. And she has even been so kind as to color code everything for me. And fun fact also, I am colorblind, so this is somewhat of a problem, but not always. I am red-green colorblind, and so I can't see all reds and I can't see all greens, and this makes it a little bit harder sometimes to find exactly what I'm looking for whenever I'm grabbing something out of markers or colored pencils, different things like that, versus whenever I'm looking at it, being able to match it, because there's just somewhere in the mix, reds, they get mixed up. I am about halfway done with doing all of my red, and it is coming together very nicely. And then after I do that, I'm going to do all my shading, which I am very excited to see, because this is honestly coming out exactly how I wanted to, with doing two different reds, a bit of a darker red and a touch lighter of a red, but I am just very, very satisfied with these results so far. Now that I have all the red complete, I wanted you to see what the process looks like of coloring, because it is absolutely trusting the process whenever I'm doing this. It is just sticking to a system and working with that system. Thank you all so much for watching. I cannot thank you enough for the love and support here recently. We just hit 900 subscribers on YouTube as well as 900 followers on TikTok, which is wild. I am still mind blown about that. I am planning to do a giveaway once I hit 1,000 on both platforms. So doing a giveaway on both YouTube and TikTok. So be sure to stay tuned for that for more details. We will be back tomorrow for New Comic Book Day. I hope you all have an amazing rest of your week. Spend some time with some loved ones. Spend some time with yourself. Peace.